basement or a garage full of old paper cutters and said, "I got something that looks like that." It's a very, very good place to acquire stock. Dealers are there to chat with you, to help you learn about the material they have, to learn from you about material that you have and that you know more about than they do. It's always a very convivial, very exciting place to be. I can also say that the ABA Book Fair is one of the great fairs because there are dealers from around the world. So you will encounter dealers from Germany, from France, from the Netherlands, from Asian countries. It's really like visiting a rare book library and getting to just walk up and touch things. And as Lisbet mentioned, for example, I remember a fair one year where there was a first edition of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde for something like $50,000. I could just have the dealer get it out of the case and let me look at it. Or there was a first edition of Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass. Well, I'm certainly never going to spend the $120,000 to own that. It's the first one I've ever seen. The same fair, there are dealers will have boxes full of ephemera in little plastic covers like the ones I brought over here, and you can look through and you can find old menus or tickets for steamships, all kinds of amazing, fantastic paper from the past. And there's queer stuff in there if you look and you know how to look for it. And often you can buy ephemera for $10, $12 at this fancy book fair. You don't have to be rich to be a collector. And in fact, I often say that in queer collecting, it's the stuff nobody's noticed yet that's the most interesting, and it doesn't cost anything. When I started acquiring those cross-dressing postcards, I was just amazed to see them, and I was like, what is this? I couldn't even understand it, but I started buying it. And that was 20 years ago, and I was buying them in places in France for things like €1, like $1 each. They sell for a lot more than $1 each now. And in any field, you can do it. One of the people here in the room, Patrick Bath, who's a dealer in the Castro, has a giant box full of promotional flyers for queer clubs in San Francisco from the 1980s and early 1990s for $1 each. They're gorgeous. They're these beautiful works of graphic art. They really deeply document a part of our queer cultural history at a moment when the AIDS crisis hit our community, and we all said, it's not all about dying. We're going to go out and go to a party tonight after that memorial service. That these are actually very poignant documents of a moment in our history, and again, ephemeral. They were printed to be handed out and thrown away. I mean, next week, that club night is over and it's recycling. So that's a place, if you don't have a lot of money, you can get into starting to collect really amazing material that it's just starting to be collected and taken seriously. Go take a look at some of that kind of material, and if you don't even have $1, pick those flyers up. Right now they're being printed for clubs. And put them away because in 20 years you'll have the only copy.
It's like Rex Ray used to do those posters for ACT UP, and now a piece of art I saw recently was $2,500 for a really small original. And then, you just think about that. I'm so glad you mentioned Patrick. He's one of my leather community colleagues, and that shop is like going to a museum. He's got some really cool stuff going back 30 years in the leather community. It's right by Hot Johnny's and Midnight Sun, right in that block.
Right, 18th Street is called Autoerotica, and it's upstairs.
Yes, so glad you're here, Patrick.
Not an ABA dealer, but a cherished dealer that I frequently buy things from.
There you go. Well, audience, you've been really great restraining your questions, so let's start right here.